J. Emerson Fine Wine Reviews, not filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Well, welcome to J. Emerson and our YouTube wine thingamajig. And today it's
It's February 12th, so it's a V-Day -2.
V-Day. You getting your vaccine?
Oh well, maybe that too.
Oh,
We'll see.
V-Day. It's
for what?
Valentine's.
Valentine's.
Day.
Yeah.
And so because of that, we're going to be tasting one great champagne. Champagne is great for Valentine's Day to kind of clink your glasses together and say all that Valentine's Day related stuff. And we're also tasting a older white Burgundy, because older white Burgundy is really fascinating and goes off into some really interesting places. So, Peter, I'm going to start with the white Burgundy. It is 2004 Marc Morey, Domaine Marc Morey. It is Premier Cru, which means a single ledouis, a single place. It's Enverdo, which is actually very high on the hill, this hillside in Chassagne, Montrachet. Smaller vineyard, almost all owned by Domaine Marc Morey, and calcareous soil. It's practically pure limestone. Right down the block is a limestone quarry, literally. And at the top of this hill, that's where all the limestone is. And you get too far up, it's no longer a Premier Cru. It's going to be at either the top of the hill or just basic village level vines. And then too far down the hill, it's too good of a soil. And so those are also village level. But this is Premier Cru. And from 2004, it was a tough vintage. Started out really bad with hail, but ended up having one of those perfect Augusts and Septembers, and dry and warm. And so they had great promise for the wines. But the thing is, we opened the first one, right? And we were a little concerned, weren't we?
Initially, when we pulled the cork, it seemed extremely muted on the nose. Seemed almost no aromatics at all, and on the palate, it had kind of a little bit of a oxidative or some sort of. It just seemed strange.
I thought it was a little
tight,
oxidative,
and closed, and not very friendly,
And this is actually, I poured myself the second one, I think.
yeah, this has opened up.
Yeah. So Marc Morey, they've owned the property for quite a long time. Marc Morey's 1944. Back then, they did not bottle at the Domaine. They sold their grapes like most everybody else did in Burgundy. I think was it around 77 or so that they started the Domaine bottle, and by that time, his daughter and son-in-law got involved, Marie Barnard. And then in 2003, they turned it over to Marc Morey's granddaughter, and she's the winemaker. So it's a woman winemaker. And that, I find that happen a couple of times, and quite often actually in Burgundy. So now I just poured myself, can tell by the aromatics, the second one. Do you have the first one in your glass?
We're on the same one, I think.
Yeah, so we both just poured ourselves the second one. Because the first one we were like, I don't know, so I pulled the second one. This is the one that's got this pine needle thing going. It's very distinctive aromatics. You say it's more like pepper.
Had some peppery qualities to it. As it's opened up, though, I've gotten more of kind of classic citron kind of notes to it. It's creamier seeming to me now. It's really, I think it's just needed some time to unfold, and it's showing great now.
And there's the thing about Chassagne Montrachet or Pliny Montrachet, white Burgundy wines in general. As they get older, they start out. You get the essence of the butteriness from the malactic, and you get the little oak if it's been fermented in oak barrels, as white Burgundy often is. But as it gets older, all that stuff kind of falls off to the wayside, and the wines go to a different place, and you get these tertiary things which are more herbal, or pine coney, or maybe some citrus, but quite a bit different than what Chassagne Montrachet would be like in 1 or 2 or 3 years. So, good acid, great acid on this.
Yeah, nice length.
For sure.
Nice length, nice finish. It's
All right.
really opened up, yeah.
So that was the second one. So now, what did I pour it out of? I forgot which bottle it was. Is it this one? No, I think it must be because this has got more in it. So this technically would be the first one. The color comes out a little yellow. That's okay. People get concerned about that. The other thing that was so interesting about the second bottle is when we pulled the capsule off and looked at the cork had some mold on it. I've had customers who've had problems with this. Oh my God, there's mold on the cork. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It means there's moisture. They've been kept in a place where there's a lot of moisture, and so mold's growing on the cork. That's great. You want the cork to be kind of solid and moist that way. Yes, occasionally that can mean that the moisture's come all the way through the cork, but often it doesn't mean that at all. It just means that it can be potentially a very good sign. So this is actually the first one we've opened, and now these are aromatics as this, because we opened the bottle and we did the dumb thing. The dumb thing is you open the bottle like this and
Taste it instantly.
and taste it instantly, right? That's like getting an old guy like me and after a 10-hour car ride and saying, "Come on out, let's go jogging." No, you can't go jogging right away. I got to rest for a while. I got to stretch my legs. Now, see, I like the aromatics here. It's muted.
That's opened up
I
one
must
too.
get a little mint almost on this end.
Yeah, there's definitely a little herbal
Some
in that.
lemony stuff going on.
Great
Herbal.
acidity, great underlying minerality, its length. You know,
Yeah.
this is why people who produce Chardonnay look to Burgundy as a model. Great example, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it is the home. Chassagne, Polini, Montrachet, appended from the great Montrachet vineyards. This is the home of Chardonnay. This is the home. These bottle shape, everything. American Chardonnay comes in bottles like this shape because they're trying to be these wines. So this is Marc Morey 2004. It is only $59 a bottle. Put my glasses on. I'm sorry, $69 a bottle, which is quite a deal, actually, considering the fact that with tariffs, I can't even find $70 white Burgundy in current vintages. So, Marc Morey, Chassagne Montrachet 2004.
All right, now we're going to switch gears. We're going to go to Pierre Peters 2003 Grand Cru Champagne. Let me bring this up so you can see the label too. Right, there we go.
Pierre Peters is an estate that has been around just over a century.
I forgot it was that long.
Founded right after World War II. And they are what we know as a grower champagne. All the fruit that they grow, they produce on their own property or own estate. They don't source it from anybody else. This is in contrast to places like, say, for example, Paul Roger or Veuve Clicquot or Taittinger, which are merchants or champagne houses that source their fruit through contract with various growers. This is all grown on property by this family. They have 19 hectares of vines. It's all Chardonnay. And this wine from the 2003 vintage was aged and it was not disgorged until the December of 2008.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty good example of a Grand Cru Blanc de Blanc champagne.
Yeah, and Pierre Peters, I have a soft spot for Pierre Peters. They're a very well respected grower maker and sought after. And in fact, I think I was telling you in the Wall Street Journal, I had an article about champagnes for Valentine's Day. And of course, Pierre Peters was one that they mentioned. I think for them it was the non-vintage Pierre Peters. 2003 was a declared vintage in Champagne. It was not the best vintage. The reputation was short-term drinking.
It was very hot vintage.
Yeah, and yeah, that's right. And I think this wine, I just got little apples, little really like green apple and the yeasty notes. We have customers come and say, "Oh, I like champagne with complexity." This is champagne with complexity, and I love the smell of this. I love the yeasty
notes. A little
notes.
bit of pine nuts and almonds, and I get a little bit of dried pear. I mean, it's really opened up.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, because we had opened this a little bit a while ago. It's got wonderful acid, and I think this is my kind of champagne. The mousse is not as, not as much mousse as there would be maybe if it was a younger champagne. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I prefer one that's a little champagne. Sometimes can come across as a little, almost too bubbly if that's possible. and sometimes it's actually kind of easier to drink them when they've lost a little bit of that. They're more like a white wine. It's kind of great to try, you know, this great all Chardonnay champagne against a great Chardonnay from Burgundy. I mean,
And the Blanc de Blanc Grand Cru area is fairly big, I think, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
But this is also soil that is pure chalk, basically.
Yep.
And so pure chalk and Chardonnay it just really has that zing, that whole zing to it. And this is quite delicious, my kind of champagne. So perfect for Valentine's Day, and because I think this is the drinking window this year, we're offering 30% off this month. And
This is normally $100 a bottle.
yeah.
So yeah, knock 30% off that.
And well, that's it, I think. Maybe you want to explain though just what disgorged means, just for those that might not be.
Well, when they make these wines, the wines they add in the secondary fermentation. They're adding a liqueur de dosage, which contains grape juice, sugar, and more yeast. And there's stuff in suspension. And when they go to disgorge it, they freeze it next to the bottle, and then they remove this plug, which contains yeast and all the kind of sediment stuff out. And that's basically what degorgement is, and reseal the bottle. So your champagne, when you're drinking it, is actually fairly clear.
Right, and before they were able to do this, before this was allowed to happen, all champagne was kind of like what is now popular, the pet nats now, that are where they have all the stuff in the bottle. And as wonderful as that is, and as much complexity as that can add to the wine, it's also going to be, and was, a pain in the butt for most people, because nobody wanted to drink that last glass of champagne because they were going to get all that stuff. And so the invention of disgorgement was hailed as quite the thing, and brought around very clean bottles of champagne in terms of stuff. Now it's very hip to have some stuff in the bottle. So again, everything that's old is new again. So anyway, I wanted to explain what disgorgement was. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in the store.